What up guys, and welcome to a new video on Unreal Engine. Wow, a tutorial video in relation to Unreal Engine. Now, what I'm going to be doing in this video, or this little mini series, is going through, doing each video I'm going to be doing something else in Unreal Engine, and sort of doing like a tutorial series, about the, engine itself. So, and just doing like tutorials based off what I've learned and what I've struggled with and what I've struggled with doing over the past like 6-7 months or maybe even longer of me using Unreal Engine, and just showing you in sort of like a video format, and doing it that way, just so if you have any questions or you have something you're stuck on, I'll go through it bit by bit, so you know what you need to do. If you have any questions, stick them down in the comment section below and I shall help you. But before we start, I do just want to say, as of recording this video, we've hit 500 subscribers, or thereabouts, 500 subscribers. And you've seen it in my Halo video already, whenever that came out. But we are trying to hit 500 subscribers by October next year. So if you are new around here and you fancy subscribing, then please do so, and you will see any other like future Unreal Engine videos and any other videos that I do in the meantime as well. So I really want to try and get to 1,000 subscribers by this time next year. So anyway, having said that, let's go on with the video. Now, we've got two things here. We've got the Unreal Engine launcher, just because we need that, and this is a clone trooper. Now this is a clone trooper from Battlefront 2. Now there's a reason why I'm using this particular model, and that is because the actual way that this material well, the actual way this actual model goes together is a bit different to what you would use if you were using something off Sketchfab or Gary's Mod or Source Filmmaker or something, or if you use texture in Substance Painter. It's a different way of doing it, but however, I'm going to do it in this way because the way you would do it with other things is the same way, but this is just a bit more complicated, so I thought I'd go through it anyway. So anybody who is using Unreal Engines, using Unreal Engine, but also wants to use Battlefront 2 models and don't know how the assets go together, then this will hopefully help you a little bit better as well. So, open up Unreal Engine. This top bit will be blurred for you. It's only just because, not for you, but on the video, that's just because it's got some project work in it, that I can't, let be seen. But that's just your recent project. So if you open up an Unreal Engine project before, that's what it'll show up all there. We've got 4 different categories that we can choose from. So you've got games. So if you want to be like a game developer, then you can be a game. Then, or you want to make a game, you can use this preset. If you're doing film, television, and live events, you can use this one. If you're doing like agriculture, architecture, and like big, massive buildings, then you can do that. Or automotive product design and manufacturing. I think that's for like physics simulations with cars and things like that. But I'm going to use film and television events because what I want to try and do by the end of the tutorial is show you how to make like a little mini animation sort of thing. Because I would use make a little mini game in this little mini series, but will not be here forever because I did do a year's worth of game development, but after learning that, I figured that there's a lot more to it than I probably could fit in. It would take me ages. It'd make it like a lot less time using film, television, and live events and making a short little animation rather than making like a small game. And also I've got more assets ready for making a short animation than I do a game. So I'm gonna go film, TV, television, and events. Click next. These you can sort of choose your template. I usually like to use a blank canvas because that's just what I like. So go next. Starter content, you can choose whether to have starter content or not. I personally have always used starter content because there's often like at least one thing in it that I do quite like and would be useful in the particular scene that I'm using. Ray tracing, now I'm going to keep it disabled for now, and there's a reason why, and I'll get to that in a future video. But if you've got a bit of a beefy PC, enable ray tracing, but bear in mind that if you've got a lot of like 4K mega scans models and materials in your environment, for example, ray tracing will slow it down dramatically, and that's the reason why I'm going to keep it disabled. Not because I haven't got a good PC, because I do, but just for the purpose of if you do have massive scenes, I'm going to show you why you need ray tracing disabled in your viewport, and that will come a bit later on. But I'll also show you how to enable it later on anyway. So it's on my project location, I'm just keeping it on my desktop. I will move it into my files later on, but I don't want you to see inside my files. So I'll stick it on my desktop and keep it there. Project name, YouTube project. This is also a good time to inform. Don't use anything like spaces or exclamation marks or stuff like that, because it doesn't like, for some reason, and this goes for the naming conventions of files and folders in Unreal Engine itself. For some reason, it doesn't like anything like special characters like space bars, exclamation marks, and whatever else. Ignore that. That's because I haven't got Steam VR plugged into Unreal Engine. But certain naming conventions it doesn't like, and I think that's just because if you are making a game, operating systems can't, the executable files, when you run them in Windows or your operating system, they don't recognize special characters, I think. So I'm not entirely sure about that, but that's what I think it is. If your project file's out of date, would you like to update it? Click update. Perfectly updated, don't need to bother about that. So now this may take a little bit longer, but I've got Unreal Engine installed on an SSD, and my operating system drive on my desktop is also on an SSD as well, so it boots up quite quickly. So we're going to our file where our clone trooper is, and I'm literally, don't bother about the FBM folder, that is literally just there because I have imported it into Unreal Engine itself already. So just click all of these, highlight them all, drag and drop into this, and I should come up with this window. Now, this is a skeletal mesh, so it automatically comes up with skeletal mesh, right? However, if you're using a static mesh, it may also come up with skeletal mesh. If it does that, simply uncheck it, drop down this drop box here, and check the combined meshes box, right? Now, if it automatically comes up like this, for example, if it is a static mesh, it comes up with just a static mesh layout like this. Just drop down and click combine meshes. You don't always need to do this, but I always like to do it anyway, just in the event that it is needed. Essentially, what it does, occasionally, if you're transferring models, let's say from Gmod to Unreal Engine, for example, the static mesh won't actually combine as one mesh. It'll import as separate meshes. It's just the way that it works. I don't know why it does it, but if you always get combined meshes when using static meshes, then it'll work fine. If you're using skeletal meshes, it'll import as the same item anyway, assuming you've got it binding to the same skeleton. So click import all, simple as that. And it should import just like this. Perfect. And you get all your files here. Now, I really should have actually made a folder. So make a folder, clone trooper, like that. And literally just, I don't want to do that. So highlight all of these files, move into the folder. You can use this for just general moving things and being orderly anyway. So what we're going to do, we're going to go for the body first. Right, now, this is where it gets a little bit confusing. Right, so you've got these files here. So if I just shift this up a minute. So you've got these files here. We don't actually need these two. It's only this one we're going to use today. Now these are the markings for the clones, right? So let's say, you know in Battlefront 2 you've got the different customizations of the different clone markings. This is the files where the markings are stored, right? You've got the body here, which is the so it's CS, which stands for color smoothness or color roughness, as it's known in Unreal Engine. You've got your AOSL, which is ambient occlusion and slice. We're not going to bother about slice, we're just going to bother about ambient occlusion today, because slice is a bit complicated. You've got your NM, which stands for normal and metallic. Right, now, what we need to do here is Battlefront 2. Now, this is where it starts getting complicated, because with like Gmod, Source Filmmaker, or let's say Sketchfab models or Substance Painter, you don't actually need to do this particular thing because it's all in separate material files. We only need to do this with Battlefront 2 meshes because this is the way that they work. Dice with Frosty tend to combine their material textures together into one file. I think it's just for ease of use because and ease of like file sizes of the actual game itself, because their files and textures are so high quality and so high polygons. It's just a bit of it, like, save a bit of space. So what you need to do in this instance is you just open this up, uncheck sRGB, close that off, right click, click duplicate, and double click this, use this drop down box, click normal map, and it will go to the normal map. So you've only got the metallic map, and you've also got the normal map right here. Now this is the same with this gloves. We'll get to the gloves later maybe, but literally it's the same process. Just double click, open it up, get rid of the sRGB. The only difference between this one is the ambient occlusion and the normal map are in one file, whereas this one you've got your metallic as well, but obviously you don't have any metallic on your gloves, so you don't need the metallic. So you combine the AO and the normal map in between them as well. So if we click duplicate, again, drop down box, normal map, simple as that, right? Easy as that, right? So the AO we've got here as well, and we've got the CS, which is this color and smoothness, as I've already mentioned. So highlight all of these, drag and drop them in. Now we also need the markings one as well, and so let's just organize these up a bit. So we've got ambient occlusion down there, don't need that for the moment. Markings we'll keep there. Metallic, I'll keep that there because I don't particularly use metallic, just so I don't really like the look of it, but we'll get to that later. That's also just a personal choice as well. So stick the markings in the color here, and what we need is we need a constant 3 or 4 vector. It doesn't matter which one, as long as it's constant 3 or 4 vector, it's fine, because then it's actually it's actually a color rather than just a value. So what you then do is you click the color thing, and you just choose I'm just going to choose a random color. Let's just go, looking away, let's just go light blue. We'll do that. So let's go then. What we need is we need a lerp node, and essentially how you do this is this is like a multiply node. So we've got the multiply node here as well. And it's essentially the same as the lerp node, except the lerp node has an alpha node, and this is where the critical part comes in, right? So if you put in your RGB for your color map and your color from your the constant node, let's just preview the node a minute. It makes it like the diffuse color with just an overlay of the constant color. So it's like they've been merged together. That's basically what the multiply node does, right? But what is different about the lerp node is that if you add a color channel from your markings into the alpha and then stick that into color, what that then does is actually adds markings on top of your model, or the texture, in relation to the color that you've used for your constant, right? So if I save that and then I go into the model here, as you can see, the texture has actually applied to the model in the relevant position, right? Now, if this doesn't work, and doesn't work first time, the textures and the actual markers are not where they should be, go through the different RGB nodes and plug them into alpha and see if that works. If that fails, you're either using the wrong texture or you're using the wrong UV channel. Now, the UV texture you can change with type in UV texture coordinate, or type in texture coordinate, and you'll have this thing come up. Plug it into UVs, and texture coordinate, just type in 1. You may need to choose 2 if 1 doesn't work, but just go back into 1 and try them again and see if that works. If that doesn't work, go to 2 and try it again. You won't need to do it any more than number 2, because any more you'll get the same result. But as you can see, if I try and save it, if I save that and go into here, as you see, the markings are different. The markings are in the wrong place. So obviously we don't need the texture coordinate, but if that is the case, then it doesn't line up first time. Try it with a different, try it with green and blue. If that fails, then try the UV coordinate thing. So save that. Now what we also need is, now you might be wondering, this is the CS, so do we actually need to duplicate the color node, the color material, and change the color type? We don't actually need to do that with this. What we can do is we can take out the alpha and type in 1 minus, and then put that into roughness, and then that will give you the little roughness texture as it is. And smoothness and roughness are the same thing. Roughness is what Unreal Engine uses, smoothness is what Frostbite uses. It's a different naming convention, means the same thing. So again, RGB goes into normal. Ambient occlusion. So we've got NaOSL or you've got AOSL. If it's AOSL, use the red channel. If you're using NAOSL, you use the green channel. So obviously it's AOSL, so we use the red channel into ambient occlusion. Now, what you can do is you can add the metallic texture to it. If I add it to it, and I click save, it's a bit too shiny for my liking. It looks a bit too much like steel for me, so I don't particularly like that. So I'm going to take that off. What I'm going to do instead is add a constant node, a constant 1 node, and just put in, let's say, 0.4. Gives a little bit of a metallic stretch. I think that might be a little bit too much, actually, looking at it. Yeah, so if I go, let's go 0.2, see what that looks like. Go back into the clone. That looks fine. I'll have that. I'll take that. That's fine. So I put 0.2. You can use the actual metallic map if you want to, but I think it looks a little bit too chrome-like, so I don't particularly want that, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Now, what you can also do is with these AOSL ones, you can't do it with the NAOSL because they don't work, I don't think, or can you? Let's just duplicate it a minute. I'm going to try it. Let's go grayscale. Oh, it does work. Right. Now, what you can do, actually, now this isn't actually officially what you're meant to do, but I like it. I think it works quite well. So if you duplicate it, open it up, give it the sRGB, use the drop-down box and go to grayscale, it actually turns it black and white, right? Now, what that does is that makes not an accurate representation, but a representation nonetheless of a specular map. Now, specular maps are good with lighting. Specular maps tell you where lighting needs to go, and what is reflective and what's not. So darkened areas don't reflect light, lightened areas do reflect light. And it's not as simple as that, but for all intents and purposes, that's what it is. So, as you can see, it doesn't really make that much detail, but the light in this trial area is very static anyway. So I won't need to bother too particularly with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut ahead in the video until I have I've done all the other materials, because they're all basically the same process. Excuse me. So go through all the different ones and set up the materials. I'll be back once I've done. Right guys, so I'm back. Now, as you can see, I've already I've set up the clone trooper with his gloves and everything. It's basically the same process I did before. If you wanted, so as you can see, I've used this color particular. It's a random color. I didn't really, want to choose this color, but whatever. But if, let's say, you wanted the body to be one color and you wanted the helmet to be a different color for whatever reason, if you open it up, literally all you need to do, go into this constant node, change the color. Let's say we'll go for let's go for like a, I don't know, green, let's say, for example. Just not for any particular reason, just randomly. So go for green. As you can see, you've got a green and blue in one. Right, now that is basically just how you do it. It's as simple as just changing the color over. Right, so that is as simple as that. Now, if you're, that's pretty simple in and of itself. If you're using them like Gmod or something, or Source Filmmaker or what have you, literally all of this like lerp stuff and that you don't really need. It is just a case of each texture that you've got, stick the RGB into the base color, normal into normal. If you've got metallic or roughness texture, then stick those in as well. And same for ambient occlusion. Or if you don't, for like metallic or roughness, just stick a constant node in and stick like a value between 0 and 1, depending on how strong you want that particular value to be. It's as simple as that. It's not, it can't really get much more easier than that. It's just I thought I'd show you with Battlefront 2, because the Battlefront 2 models and materials are a little bit more complicated because of the way DICE sorts them out. So, before I go, I do just want to go through the, now that I've gone through this bit, which is the main part of the video that I wanted to go around, I haven't actually done much in the viewport. So, you've got your viewport here, you've got your little material things over here. I wish I'd done this first, but I haven't. So you've got your little thing with this, all your different assets you've got in your world. And you've got your different like sections here for all your different parts. So you've got your little cursor here, so you select what you want, etc. Now if you just left click and you can try and move around, just zoom. It's a bit strange. Some people like this version, this type of movement. I don't particularly, not a massive fan of it. But if you right click, it moves you in sort of like a spectator cam, like you have in like Call of Duty for like first person cameras and stuff like that. I prefer to work around in this particular type of workflow, but that's just me. That it's not particularly, somebody's way of doing it is not necessarily wrong way of doing it. It's just the way each person likes to do it. So that's sort of how you move the workflow. If you want to use different like modes, you've got your lit, you've got your brush wireframe, detail lighting, standard lighting, reflections, player collision, visibility, and whatever. Keep it in lit if you keep it in lit for best possible experience. So that's about all you have time for in this video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming or tutorial content. Next episode we might go into a bit of lighting, we might go into a bit of landscaping. We shall see where we get to. So yeah, again, I know I said this at the start of the video, but we are trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by October of next year. So if you are new around here and you want to see more videos like this and other gameplay type videos, then leave it in the and then do hit subscribe so you don't miss anything, and hit the bell notification icon so you can get notified when I post. Also, just another thing, if you want to save things, you can click save current. That does saves this map and this level you're working on. I always choose save all just because it saves everything, textures, models, whatever you've got that you've changed, it will save it all. So click save all for every time you want to save. Click save all. It's just the biggest way you can make sure that you've saved everything. It is, nothing's been lost. So yeah, so I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content. And I shall see you all later. Bye.